Hey beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new here, make sure you click that subscribe button. I would love for you to join the family. So today we're gonna talk about faith over fear. I'm gonna tell you guys about the time I thought I was pregnant and how it literally shook my world. And it made me realize that I wasn't trusting God as much as I thought I was over every aspect of my life. So let's talk about it. Okay, so a little backstory about me. If you don't know, I'm currently married. I got married at the end of last year. And when I got married, that was like my first time having sex. So I've never had to worry about being pregnant before because I've never had sex before. So obviously this is a perfect situation to have a child. Like, I'm married, we're doing well, God is good. So yeah, we're just enjoying life right now. But for some reason, y'all, I was shook. I was very, very shook when I thought I was pregnant. So just want to tell you guys that just so you know the situation. So this isn't a situation where I should have felt the kind of anxiety and fear that I did feel. I mean, given the world standards, like I should have been excited, you know, like, oh, this is something exciting. But no, I was like stricken by anxiety and fear and just realized that God really just had to show me some stuff through that experience, which I'm very thankful for it now because I feel like when I do get pregnant by the grace of God, and there is actually a child inside of me, I'm thankful that hopefully I won't feel the emotions I did feel because I felt really guilty for feeling those emotions, which is also something a lot of people don't talk about. Like, you may not always feel excited when you find out you're pregnant, even if it is in like the perfect situation, just because it's scary and it's a change, it's a major change, and it's just a lot. So I just want to start back, I guess, when it happened. So this was about 2 weeks ago, so very recent. You know, we're being authentic on this channel, so very, very recent. I was delayed in my period. Also, a disclaimer, this is very much so a girl talk. So if you're a guy, welcome. I'm happy you're here. But this is very much a girl talk, but a girl talk that I think that guys should hear when it comes to different things. So definitely just want to put that disclosure out there, but everyone is welcome to listen and engage in the comments because that's what I want on this channel. So basically, about 2 weeks ago, I thought I was pregnant because my period was really, really, really delayed. So I'm not on birth control or nothing like that. And my period is very normal, which I love. So I track it on this app and I know when I'm on my period, I know when I'm ovulating, like I just kind of know. And usually I may be like 1 or 2 days off, but that's it. Like, I think the most I've ever been off recently is maybe 2 or 3 days. This time I was a week off. Like, it had been 6 or 7 days. And I was like, where is Tom? Like, I call him Tom of the month. So I'm like, where is Tom? Where did he go? Like, anybody seen him? I had no idea what was going on. I felt like my period was coming on because like I know my body pretty well. So like I was really fatigued, a little agitated, things like that. But I didn't start my period. So at first it was kind of just a joke between my husband and I, like, you know, I don't know what's happening, you know, kind of like funny. But as the days went along, my anxiety began to build because, like I said, I'm usually not that late. And I didn't know what else could be happening other than potentially I was pregnant. So I just remember one morning I woke up, it was actually a morning I had to go to work. And that night I was like, okay, I think I might be starting my period. So that night I was like, okay, let me just kind of anticipate that coming and that happening. And I woke up in the morning and I had not started my period. And I was in my prayer closet praying because I have a whole morning routine before I go to work. And I was in my prayer closet praying and I was crying, y'all, like legit crying. Like, and I didn't even know what to say to God because it's like, children are a blessing, but also my life's about to change. This was not the timing I wanted, but also I'm in a very blessed situation to bring a child into the world, but also there could be more done. So there was a lot of like, I guess there was a lot of contradicting things happening in my mind. And to be honest, I did not know how to lay that before the Lord. I felt guilty for feeling like I didn't want this child if there was a child. Like, you know, I don't even know if I'm pregnant. I haven't taken a pregnancy test yet, right? So I felt really guilty. I felt emotional. I was trying to make myself feel happy. So just a lot going on mentally in my mind. I was just like praying for like peace. I'm like, okay, Lord, if I am pregnant, let me want to be pregnant and carry this pregnancy in a very graceful way, in a very thankful way is kind of what I was like thinking at that point. So I remember getting to work and thankfully no one was there. It was just me at that time. I got there pretty early because I was just sitting there working, looking at my emails, looking at my calls, trying to schedule the day before rounds and started crying. Literally started crying at my desk and that's also why I was like, bro, where's my period? Because I'm not usually this emotional. So I was like, something is not right. Like, either I'm starting my period or this is what first trimester symptoms look like. Mind you, I've never been pregnant, so I don't know anything about any trimester, right? So I was like, maybe either I'm starting my period and like it's just playing with my life right now, or this is first trimester symptoms, because I'm usually not this emotional. Like, this is not me. So I'm like sitting there crying and I'm like, what is going on? Thankfully, nobody was there. Thank God. So I called my husband and I'm like, bruh, when you come home today, I need you to stop and get a pregnancy test, because I do not know what's wrong with me. Like, he is so chill. He's just like, okay. And I was just having all these emotions, like literally, like I only work 4 days a week, which I love about my schedule. And then in a few months, I'll also have a day at home. And then he has a work from home day too. So he only actually like does what he does 4 days a week. So I was talking to him. I'm like, okay, so we have this day and this day and this day covered. And who we're gonna, like, if we are pregnant, who's gonna watch the kid on this day and this day? And he just is like, babe, I can't even think that far right now. Like, chill out. And I'm like, just freaking out. So anyways, I go through most of the day trying to calm myself down, trying to do my job, just focusing in. I do pretty well with just focusing even when things are chaotic. So I was like, let me focus in, let me take care of my people, take care of my patients, whatever. So I'm trying to focus in, not really talking to anyone at my job about it, because that's not their business. So I try to keep it to myself. And then I go to the bathroom. So at this point, I'm like already kind of like, okay, Lord, I'm literally repenting for my emotions, because I'm like, this is just a lot. Like, I'm waiting for the excitement to come. Like, oh, I'm pregnant. I could be pregnant. Like, I'm waiting for the excitement to come. The excitement was not there, because when my husband and I got married, I basically told God, we talked about it. I was like, Lord, I mean, you don't have to do anything we say, but if we please could have a year or 2 years to ourselves before bringing a baby into this world, that would be preferable. So we are about to be a year married in a few months. So I was kind of laughing in my mind, because I was like, dang, God kind of, if I am pregnant, God kind of answered my prayer, because by the time the baby gets here, we would have been past a year, well past a year, because you have to, be pregnant for 9 months. But I was like, that's not what I meant. Like, I want a whole year to enjoy ourselves without a child. And really, like, I want 2 years. I was just saying a year because I was trying to be lenient, as if God is not laughing at my plans anyways. But, so I was like, okay, I'm just not ready for this given the timeline we have and stuff like that. So I don't know, I was kind of repenting for feeling the way I did, because I was like, I know that children are a blessing. And I know that, like I said, our situation is one where we can bring a child into the world. It wouldn't be easy. And it's not like the best time, like I said, for us. Like, there's other things you want to do. I think specifically in westernized culture and just in our society, you want to hit certain goals, and you want to have certain income. You want to be in a certain just situation, whether it's like financial, family, educational, a relation, like relationally between you and your spouse. You want things to be set before you bring someone else in the world. And I think for me and my husband, we are very serious about our legacy and our kids and how we want to raise them. So it's just all that going into it. But at the same time, the Lord is sovereign, right? So if God tells me, or if he wants me to be pregnant right now, and I'm also putting myself in a situation to where I want him to be able to do that. Like I said, I'm not on birth control and things like that. So I've always been the person where when people ask me, like, how many kids do you want? I always say as many as God wants me to have. And I know people like roll their eyes at that answer, but this is me trying to trust him, right? This is me trying to lay my life before him and being like, not my will, your will be done. That is my attempt to do that. So I've always felt like I've been pretty good at that. And then this experience just kind of jolted me, because I was like, wait, okay, not my will, yours be done, but Lord, my will. Like, I don't want to be pregnant right now, right? Do I want a child? Yes. And I know it was a hard thing also for me to even say that to him, because people struggle to have kids all the time. So, whoa, like, who am I to, like, this is coming done. I'm like, I ain't trying to flash y'all, but who am I to potentially be able to bring a child into this world and be complaining about it when people struggle to have kids and all these other situations? So there was just so much guilt, and I just had to try to like repent and also be gracious with myself for the emotions I was feeling, because like they were all valid, but I also needed to submit them to the Lord. So I say all that to say that I ended up going to the bathroom and I started spotting, but again, I don't know first trimester symptoms. So my period usually comes on heavy initially. So I was like, okay, there's hope. This is so bad. But I was like, okay, there's hope. I may not be pregnant, but I wasn't sure yet, because like I said, it was very spotty, like wipe a little pink type stuff, without getting too graphic. So I was like, okay, I'm not sure yet. So finally later on the day, it came fully and I started crying. I literally started crying when I started my period because I was so happy my period came. Y'all, I felt so bad. I felt so bad. I was like, why am I crying? Like, I'm literally excited right now. And I know in other situations, in other times of people's lives, that would be a very reasonable response, if you get what I'm saying. You know, maybe you have sexual relations with someone that's just like, you know, you're just messing around with, or like a boyfriend and you're young and all this other stuff, and you have a scare and you're like, okay, in my situation, I could have been okay with it, you know, and it would have been a blessing and we would have been really excited. But I'm over here crying and excited because I'm not. And I just felt bad because I was like, I know our God is gracious and he's loving, so he's not going to punish me. But you know, like in your mind, you're like, dang it, like, I don't want this to be like, okay, like a sign to God, like, oh no, I don't want kids, and then I struggle to have kids in the future or something like that. Like the enemy is just telling me all these things in my mind and just like building the guilt on while my emotions are kind of like giddy and like, thank God. So it's just a lot to encompass. I called my husband. I'm like, okay, you don't have to go get the test. Called my sister, told her everything. And she was like, girl, you got me excited. I thought I was about to be an aunt. Cause like everyone is excited, right? They're all ready to babysit apparently. So she was like, you over here worried about the day? He's like, I got the kids or whatever. That whole experience just kind of like shook me. And I've spent multiple days kind of pondering on what I was feeling and going through because like I said, it was a whirlwind of emotions. And it was emotions that were up and down, like they weren't consistent, right? So it's like guilt plus excitement plus like conviction, plus like sorrow. Like it was just a lot of emotions to feel. And then went to church on Sunday and our first lady, like the pastor's wife, preached. The whole series was just closed off. It's called Be Like Jesus, which is incredible. So the last message was basically on obedience. And I have a whole video on obedience that you guys love. So I'm happy you love, because I love talking about the Lord. So I will put that in the cards here. But that message was about obedience. And she ended off the message kind of talking about Jesus in the garden and how he's like weeping and crying out to the Father. And he's basically saying, is there any other way? Like, is there any other way where I don't have to get on the cross, type like that. But at the end of the day, he says, not my will, but your will be done. So like, however, not my will, but your will be done. And it brought me back to that moment of like thinking I was pregnant. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I have all these plans for my life. And the Lord has been really gracious to where things have went into place in some regards. And I'm really thankful for that. But if this would have happened, my response would have been, but also should have been, Lord, not my will, but your will be done. And I feel like I would have gotten there, but it would have taken me a moment to get there in this situation. And I think every time, you know, sometimes you'll hear people say like, think about the one part of your life where you don't trust God. And for me, like if I'm being honest with y'all, I don't know if it was a pride thing or what, but I'm like, I trust God in every aspect of my life. Like we've been doing this life thing together. I've been submitting to him, like obeying him, like my God business is serious. So like, I was like, I trust him in every aspect of my life. And this showed me that that was a lie. That was a lie, like biblically how it says, do not think too highly of yourself. That was a lie because in this area, I did not trust him. And in this area, I was relying more on like my own abilities or me and my husband's abilities and what we can do and how we can provide or what we wanted. And that really was just shaking me. And not to say that emotions are bad, because that's not what I'm saying. And I don't believe the Lord feels that way. Like Jesus is literally crying in the Garden of Gethsemane saying, can you please take this cup from me? So I don't think emotions are bad. I think they're very valid. I think for me, it just showed me that there's another level of surrender and another level of faith that I need to have in the Lord, specifically in this new aspect of being married and just like potentially starting a family really soon and starting another legacy. Like you're not only responsible for yourself, but you're responsible for other people. And I think there's a lot of weight to that. Like now I see what our parents be feeling. I think there's a lot of weight to that. So I think I'm just thankful, honestly. I'm thankful for the experience I went through, even though it was emotional. I'm thankful for it. And I'm thankful for the connection that I was able to put with obedience and with Jesus in the garden, because I think now my prayer can just be like, Lord, I surrender. Like I surrender my life and fully, like I want to have the faith of Abraham. And I always say that to the Lord. I'm like, I want to have the faith of Abraham. I want to have the favor of Moses. I want to have the wisdom of Solomon. Like I want to be able to say that my faith is unwavering no matter what's happening, no matter what it looks like, because I know that this world is not the end. And I know that victory is in Jesus. So I really want to have the unwavering faith. And I think it's also beautiful when things like this happen and it kind of does like shake us and be like, wait, you thought you were doing something, but wait a minute, like you need the Lord. And I think that's what this showed me. So I would just encourage y'all that whatever it is, and I know I sound like people in church, whatever it is you need to surrender to the Lord. I don't know what it is for you. And I don't know like if you need to have an experience like I did to be able to realize like, oh, I actually am not surrendering this part of my life to God. But I would, I guess, challenge you to just think about like the what ifs of life. Like if this happened, how would I respond? And just surrender those aspects to God because he has a plan and his ways are higher than our ways and his plans are higher than our plans and his thoughts are higher than our thoughts, which is a verse that I love. But I feel like it's so much easier to say that than to actually live in that and believe that. So yeah, I'm just challenging you guys to really, really lean into faith, so that when the time comes, like our lamp is always ready, like we know that we're not wavering no matter what the circumstance that happens and that we're not so easily distracted. I think that was also something like, I don't know, I just felt like my life was about to be like so, I don't know, it wasn't going to be like terrible, obviously, but I felt like my life was about to be so deterred by one thing that is a very substantial thing, but also a thing that is still in God's hand. So if I trust my whole life in his hand, then I can trust my life and a baby's life in his hand as well. So yeah. But yeah, I really just was thinking about it and I was like, dang, I really want to share this because one, I feel like the adverse emotions around pregnancy announcements or whatnot are not really discussed that much. Like usually people are really excited and really hopeful when it comes to like, you know, being in the confines of a healthy relationship, a healthy marriage and wanting a child. But people don't talk about how scary it could be and how just overwhelming it could be, how unpredictable it can be. And that's everything I felt. And I don't think that's bad. I don't think any of that is bad. I think that people obviously want to show the good side of it, like the celebration side, like the announcements. But I think it's also valid that if you are, expecting or anything like that and you have like these emotions, that's totally okay. I would just encourage you to surrender them to the Lord and ask him to renew your mind and change your perspective, so that you're not just dwelling on negativity for the first part of your pregnancy or whatever the situation may be. Like maybe it's not even this topic, it's just like something that's really causing you a lot of anxiety. Just asking the Lord to renew your mind and change your perspective so that you can actually focus on him and all the blessings he's given you and you can enjoy whatever experience it is more. I think that that's what I would have been praying for if I actually was pregnant. Like, Lord, please renew my mind. Please change my perspective. Please ground me in you. Like, please give me faith that is bigger than my fears. Like, please increase so I can decrease. Lord, not my way, but your will. Like I would have been praying all those things because you definitely don't want to sit in negative emotions too long, specifically when it can like literally impact you physically or whatever you're going through, whether it's a sickness, whether it's a pregnancy, whether it's a change of job, change in relationships. You just want to surrender that all to the Lord so that he can take on your burden and give you a burden that's light because that's what his word says. So we're holding him to that promise, which I think is a beautiful thing because that means that we're never doing anything alone. So I would encourage you in that. And I just wanted to say that because I know that sometimes those negative emotions are not talked about. So those are valid. Submit them to God, sit in them if you need to, and let him renew you in that way. And I think also another thing is just being really introspective about the areas that we aren't submitting to God, the areas that we are letting fear dictate more than faith. And some of those areas may not be as prevalent or as obvious as we want them to be, like my situation. So we might think like, oh yeah, we're good until something happens and knocks us down. And I know like my husband, sometimes he'll always joke and he'll be like, you ready for the rapture? Or like, are you ready for like, he'll always be like, are you ready for end times? Like, you think you can handle persecution? And I'd be looking at this man like, bruh, chill out. But no, seriously, like thinking about whatever it may be that we're not thinking about and just asking God to make our faith big enough to get us through that. Whatever it may be, like, Lord, I want faith. Literally, I want unwavering faith like Abraham. Like whatever promises you said you have for me, whatever your word says is true, I want to believe that to the end because that's really what it's going to take to get through this life and get through this life well. So I just wanted to encourage you guys in that way. And now I honestly feel like this was something that I needed because I am someone that has really strong faith, but I feel like having this experience now can expand my faith further in ways that in ways that I will need once I am pregnant, right? Once I am carrying a person or once I am changing like career-wise or lifestyle-wise, whatever it may be, like I need a stretching of my faith as I elevate with the Lord. So I think this was just, honestly, I'm thankful. I'm just very thankful because I was thinking about it earlier and I was like, now that I felt that way and I can pray through it and just ask God to transform my mind and just like, you know, I can ask him, Lord, that whenever I am pregnant, I don't want to feel that way. Like whenever I am pregnant, I want to feel thankful and I want to feel glad. And I know I'm going to have fears, and I'm not suppressing that because it still is scary, and I still don't know. I ain't never pushed no baby out of me before. I don't know what that looks like or how to even carry a baby in me for 9 months. So that is still frightening, and that's okay. But in terms of just like walking every day and having that excitement and having that gratitude, I want that. So I think it's good that I had that experience. So now when the actual thing comes, I can like walk in gratitude and walk in just joy around it, and just lean on the people that love me so much and are here to support me. And hopefully I won't have that initial jolting reaction when it does happen. So I think that was good for me because now I can pray about it and pray through it before it happens. And in other areas, I think this will also build my faith. Like I can just build my faith in general so that no matter what comes at us in this life, hopefully I'll be able to withstand that by the grace of God. So I think this was good, just as like I said, kind of like a jolting moment of like, hey, you need to submit, and you need to submit everything. You need to just lay it at his feet, and your faith needs to be strengthened right now, even if you didn't know it. So now my prayer for myself is just like, Lord, strengthen my faith. I want faith that is unwavering. I want you to use me in whatever ways you want to use me, and I don't want my fear to hold me back from that. Ooh, yeah, that was good. But yeah, I want you to use me in whatever ways you want to use me, and I don't want my fear to hold me back from that, or my doubt to hold me back from whatever you have for me. So that's my prayer for y'all. I hope that this was encouraging. I hope that you will be introspective and think about what areas in your life you need to surrender to God, and what areas in your life you need to just ask him to renew your mind and renew your perspective and just walk with you, because that's what he promises he'll do. Abide in him and he'll abide in you. So yeah, I'm just thankful that we have a God that is so good. Hope my story encourages y'all. You know, I'm still on this journey. I'm not pregnant, hey, but I'm still on this journey to just really trust God and really be authentic in this life and just share things and hopefully encourage other people's faith as well. So yeah, y'all, that is it. Hope that you gained something out of learning about my struggles. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please, please, please leave any questions, comments, or suggestions down below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, turn notification bell, all that good stuff. And most importantly, say it with me, do not forget that your life is totally worth living. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye.